One of the most prevalent treatments for lower back pain in the United States and around the world is the lumbar epidural steroid injection. These injections have gained widespread popularity over the past 30 years, with over 12 million injections given each year in the US alone, and that number increases every year. In today's video, I explain what epidural shots are, why they've become so popular, and most importantly, how well they actually work. So if you're thinking about getting an epidural shot for back pain, hang with me, because this video will be the determining factor. I guarantee it. An epidural steroid injection is a minimally invasive procedure that delivers a solution of local anesthetic along with corticosteroid medication. The solution is administered using fluoroscopy to the epidural space, which is situated just outside the spine. The purpose of the injection is to alleviate lower back pain and sciatica pain. The cost of these shots runs between $1,000 to $2,000 each and is usually covered by insurance. The trick to these shots, they say, is to accurately identify the source of the back pain. The interventional pain management doctor's goal is to get the injection as close as possible to the area that's causing the pain. Now, we're told that the pain may be originating in a herniated disc or possibly a fascia joint or maybe a sacroiliac joint. They really aren't able to tell from MRI results, so it's a bit of a fishing expedition. That's why physicians are typically allowed 3 attempts to find the right spot by the insurance companies. Is anyone else noticing the first red flag for this treatment? So how effective are these shots, given that they're administered at a rate of 12 million per year and rising? Well, that's an interesting question, because if you ask the people who are selling them, the shots work very, very well. Most of the pain specialist websites I reviewed described epidural shots as very effective. Western Reserve Hospital in Ohio's website states that 9 out of every 10 patients reported significant reduction in back pain. Now, if you're in pain and looking for a solution, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? The website goes on to say that if an injection doesn't work, it may just be because the source of the pain is in a different area of the back from where the injection occurred. You may need additional shots to find the right spot and resolve the pain. It's also important to note here that epidural shots are not a permanent cure. The average relief time is measured in just weeks or months. Seems to me like injecting something into your spinal area for what may amount to just weeks of relief is a bit risky. But I know when you're in pain, and I've been there, that you'll do just about anything to make it stop. So again, how well do these shots work? Well, when I asked Google about it, the answer didn't inspire a lot of confidence. Epidural steroid injections may be effective for providing short-term pain relief for certain types of back pain, but their long-term effectiveness is limited. Not exactly a rousing endorsement, is it? And here's the reality. In a 2015 review of clinical studies and medical literature, the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality found no evidence that epidural steroid injections were effective in treating symptoms of typical lower back pain. That news followed on the heels of an FDA statement warning that injection of glucocorticoids into the epidural space of the spine could result in rare but serious neurological problems, including stroke, paralysis, and even death. Now that's certainly alarming. And based on those and other findings, the Journal of the American Medical Association advised physicians to refrain from recommending epidural steroid injections to patients with lower back pain. Wow, so it's really interesting how all of this unfolded. Let's review. A 2015 clinical review shows no evidence that epidural shots work. Then the FDA found that the shots were potentially dangerous. The American Medical Association recommended that physicians basically stop using them completely for back pain. And yet, in 2025, they're doing more epidural shots than ever before. An insurance company recently discovered that one doctor here in Colorado gave a patient 51 injections in 1 year, or at least he billed for 51 shots. So what in the world is going on here? Well, you probably know what's going on. If a doctor can get $1,000 to $2,000 a pop for an in-office procedure that takes 20 minutes and bill insurance companies, which continue to provide coverage despite the recommendations from the AMA and others, he or she is going to ignore the science and continue with business as usual. In fact, here's how Dr. James Rathmel, an anesthesiologist who actually has a conscience, put it. As a rule of thumb, if you pay practitioners to do stuff, they will do more stuff. Frankly, what's happening in interventional pain management is just a microcosm of what's happened in all of medicine. And that's true. And so it's not surprising that a recent survey showed a significant change in Americans' trust level of the medical institution in general. When they asked people about their trust of their doctors in 2019, 71% had a high level of trust in their doctors. However, by 2024, the level of trust had dropped to just 40%. That's a big trust dive in just a few years. Not a good trend, but reflective of what's really happening. The general public, the regular people like you and me, don't automatically trust their doctors anymore. And apparently, they shouldn't. In a later study conducted by the Association of American Family Physicians, published in 2022, the news for the shots was also not good. In a pretty large study of 2,470 patients, they compared epidural steroid injections to a placebo group who were injected with a saline solution. Here's the summary statement from that study. Treatment with epidural steroid injections in the lower spine is not effective for reducing lower back pain and disability. That's the bottom line. So why don't the shots or any other medical treatment relieve lower back pain? Well, it's because they're treating the wrong thing. They're all trying to treat the spine. But what if the spine is not the problem? Because when the diagnosis is incorrect, then all the treatments that follow are also incorrect and will not work. Now, this sounds bad until you realize that there's some very good news, which is that once you have the correct diagnosis, healing back pain is actually quite easy. And the real cause of almost all back pain is, believe it or not, emotional tension that releases too much cortisol, the stress hormone, into your body. Cortisol tightens and inflames your back muscles and nerves, and that creates the pain. That's the truth that the back pain industry is withholding in order to keep you coming back and keep you paying. I'm Laura Thornton, co-founder of CalmYourBack.com, where we've helped thousands of people cure their back pain so they don't have to keep going back for medical treatments that don't work. To watch a short 6-minute video that explains our simple 3-step non-medical process for healing back pain, just click on the link below. This is the first step of your back pain escape plan, where you are in control and no shots are required. Thanks for watching.